I thought that this was actually an interesting topic too, and we've talked about this just off camera, Rip, about Tony Taters, and so and some speculation, just kind of like shooting some ideas around of like, hey, if Anthony Santander, where does he go? And if the Yankees are out on Soto, could he, speaking of interdivision type acquisitions, could Tony be in pinstripes next year?
Yep. Zach talked about it last night too, and for fans that you want to hear it, Brad's exactly right. If the Yankees don't get Soto, they're gonna be aggressive in my mind on Tony Taters.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't they? It fits their profile. They love left-handed power there. They also love the ability to switch hit. It's a good park to hit at. It's a really good park to hit at. And I think that Tony would fit in really well with that lineup. Would that absolutely – I think that would torment Oriole fans more than Corbin leaving because of the ties that they've had with seeing Tony develop into the player that he is. But that's the reality of this situation here. That's very well could happen.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be on what happens with Juan Soto. And Rick, I saw you mention here, I like how he didn't even mention the Orioles being in on Fried. Look, the Orioles were in on Blake. They're in on Corbin, and they have interest in Max Fried. The conversation continues to go back to it here. For those that didn't tune in last night, again, it's like, let me ask you guys a question and say you didn't have any ties to Baltimore.
Yeah.
I offer you the same deal at some of these other places. What convinces you to sign with Baltimore? Is it that you have 3 Hall of Famers at the top of your lineup and you're the defending World Series champion? The Dodgers have that.
Yeah.
Blake Snell even said that in the press conference. Is it the money, the exposure of being in New York or being in Boston, where the fan bases and the commitments there that they have, plus then on sponsorships or where their families maybe want to be?
Right.
Now, we know what Baltimore provides, and we love the roster. My selling point would be, hey, look at the young roster that we have. We believe that we can be good for the next 5 to 10 years with this nucleus. We believe Jordan Westburg is going to be an all-star again. We believe the Colton Cowser is only going to get better. Adley's going to bounce back, and Gunner's going to be an MVP. Oh, and by the way, Jackson Holiday is going to start to figure it out here at his age, 21 years. Like, so you can sell what the Orioles can do, but it's the other component. Why come to Baltimore? We know it. I can say, hey, great place to raise a family. You got a great community, people that love it here. If you want to go down to DC, it's right down the road. 30 miles separates the cities. You can have a lot of opportunity here, but that's a hard thing to sell to somebody if you're offering the same amount of money to a player that doesn't have ties here.
And you can find that anywhere in any metropolitan city, right? Like, that's not really the selling point for most people, most players that are coming to Baltimore, right? So there has to be more. Obviously, the money has to be there too, and that's the big thing. At the end of the day, if you can pay the man, then you got to pay the man. You got to pony up, and the O's just.
They would have to make they would have to make a Severino-esque offer for a guy where you're going ludicrous, and go over top, and then they're like, hey, I'll take it. Like Robinson Cano a few years, well, it's not even a few years, it's been a while now. He went out to Seattle, right?
I think, yeah.
And it was why? It's the most they offered him the biggest contract.
Right. And there's players that chase that.